All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for all of you being here with us this evening as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in the Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes. Let's get ready to participate and engage. If everybody can hear me loud and clear, please drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. Let me know that you're ready to go. And we can get this session started. All right, Kim, I see you, Denise, Bridget, appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. Ryan, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, bro. I am doing well, man. I'm doing well. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Running all over the place today.
I believe that,
Running
man.
all over the place. We were playing phone tag earlier.
Yeah.
I know the career is keeping me busy. So
Yes,
yeah. But other than that, everything is all good on the home front, work front. So always blessed, always blessed. So glad you're doing all right, man.
Same, bro.
Yep.
Same.
Yep. So let's get it going, right? So Wednesday, April the 5th, right? It's the 5th already. We knew coming in today we had the ADP non-farm employment change private sector. We see, right? Slumped off 208,000 expected, came in at 145, right? Those lagging effects. ISM services, PMI came in at 51.2, right? So we go over, take a look at trading economics, we can see that U.S. services growth slows, right? Down sharply. Okay. We can see that Brent dips, right? Oil trades below $81, all because of the weak U.S. job openings data, right? Slowing economic conditions. All right. Slowing economic conditions, right? That's the concern. So we get some positive signs in some areas. Again, it's just a mixed bag. All right. But that's all right. We need the volatility to create those waves. So we're not going to sweat it one bit, right? So that was major today, right? Those numbers missed. So showing a little bit of contraction. So markets getting spooked a little bit of concern. But like I said, it's all right. We're going to keep it moving. So we move on into tomorrow, April 6th. We've got Canadian job numbers. So we'll see how that plays out. We know that the Bank of Canada paused rates at their last meeting. So we'll see what happens with those numbers tomorrow. That is at 8:30. We got some bank holidays there. And then on Friday, right, 8:30, we've got non-farm, right? So this is going to be a critical piece of data coming out on Friday, because that's going to be your last major piece of data before the next Fed meeting in April. So we'll continue to watch. But hey, they keep saying, hey, there's lagging effects to hiking rates as fast as they did. And we're starting to see those effects. So that's how the day went today. And if we flip on over and take a look at the US dollar, we can see that we're still kind of in that bearish, right, situation, right tip of the crown. So we have found some support here on a daily. So we'll see, right, going throughout the rest of the week with that non-farm payroll number coming out on Friday. See what happens here, right? As you see, we're getting a little bit of a bounce here at this level. Maybe a correction, then a further continuation down. We shall see. But we're holding up pretty firm here. It's getting a little bounce. That's the dollar on the 15-minute here. So we will see. But those numbers today, right, showing a bit of a slowdown. So we'll continue to watch it. Ryan, anything that you heard about today, fundamentally?
No, sir. Nothing major. Still catching up on a few things, but nothing major outside of those.
Cool. Got it. So that's where we are. Let me go back here to Wednesday. No. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got the unemployment data coming out, right, for the Swissy. But that's it. That's it there. Any questions in regards to the fundamentals? You missed that in 80-20? Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Hey, you know what though? You're seeing that you missed it, right? So you're identifying those patterns in the market. Okay, so that's the positive, right? You're seeing it. You're seeing it now. And that's all good. And that's the key, right? Is developing that spatial intelligence branding to see it consistently, because then now you're becoming independent and you can find your own opportunities. So great work. Great work. Right? We don't have to catch them all. We don't have to catch them all. So so no other questions. Let me make sure that everybody has control of their microphones. Okay. All right. So let's bang through these charts and look at some of these setups. So we know overall, right? We'll start off at the top with the Aussies. And a couple I want to take a look at the way they're setting up. So if, right, we always look to plan. So if we know that overall, right, we've been bearish on this Aussie Swissy, and we can see it steadily moving down, right? Finding a bit of support here, ranging a little bit, right? Moving down. You can see here on the 4 hour, right? We've just come into, right, a de-extension off this leg, okay, to the downside. You can see we got a little bit of bullish momentum moving up. But what I want to focus on here is this 4 hour chart, okay? Because if that bearish narrative is going to continue with the Aussie, right? So we want to put this on our radar, because if it's going to continue, then we want to look for a nice second. Think that way. We want to look for a good high price. All right, so we can see we've got the B2C move already. What we want to see is if we can get this to climb back into our zone. Okay. And from there, if we get good confirmation, we start to form highs right around these levels. We want to look to short, okay, on the Aussie Swiss, just like that. Okay. So we want to see if we can get a higher correction, and then we'll look to move bearish, right? So you're either going to put your stop above that C, or you're going to put it out the way above that A, right? So we're looking for a continued bearish narrative on the Aussie currency. Okay. But we need a high price first. Any questions on that Aussie Swiss? No, thank you. Okay. So that's that. Same thing on this Aussie New Zealand, right? And I'm looking at these because I know there's some of us, right, that might have missed, haven't been involved in this downside swing, right? So it's like, okay, where's the next opportunity coming? Okay, so we've got a new AB boundary. We got an immediate reversal off the B boundary. So if we didn't play this already, right? Hey, let's look for a high price and see if we can get the trend to continue to the downside. So that's the Aussie Swiss. We're gonna take a look at the Aussie NZD, right? So we can see, right, from a weekly perspective, moving bearish still. That's long term here. Okay, we've just come into this de-extension here. Okay, was hit. So what we want to see is, can we get, right, a high price? Now on this 4 hour fib, we haven't hit this 4 hour de-extension yet. So what we're looking for is to see if we can get price to correct, right? So if I'm on this 4, okay, we want to, let's see if I can like this, just kind of represented on the 1, 2. That's an extension too. So we don't have it reset yet. But so the first thing we want to look for is it coming right back up into these levels here. Okay. So this would be my first zone here. Right? To see if we eventually get a move up. Here. See if we can form, right? Past support becoming future resistance. And if we hold, we form a high there, we can look to get short back down to that D extension, right? So the first level we want to look for is for price to run right back into these levels. Everybody see that? Drop me a 2 in the chat. Let me know you're with me tonight. Okay. Right. That's just a move right back to structure. So we want to look there first, right? To see that's a huge bearish candle that we have. Okay. We know price likes to take back a percentage of that, run us right in the structure, then maybe a continuation down. So if you haven't been involved in this, right, where you got whipsaw, some people say, hey, I'm out. You know, now that we've got a dedicated move to the downside, now we look for a retest of this zone first. If we get through that, right, we don't get confirmation of a move back to the downside, then we look for a further correction up. But ultimately, we're looking for that high price. So just keep an eye on that Aussie NZD, okay, to move bullish on a correction, and then we want to try to move back down to that 1.618D extension, okay? All right, so, but be patient, right? Be patient if it comes back into that level, right? That's that on the Aussie NZD. Let's take a look at our CAD switch trade. As that's still bouncing around doing its thing. Here we take a look at it on the 1, right? It's just dancing. I was a little disappointed because I did have a buy limit set at this 127, right? So I'm already off the B boundary with a position, but you can see it, it pushed all the way down, but it missed my buy limit and took off. So it didn't pick that up because that would have had me in pretty decent profit right now. But it's kind of moving sideways, doing this thing, but ultimately that's still in play, and we're looking for that target to be hit at the 382 for TP. Any questions on the CAD Swiss?
Man, oh man, oh man.
You missed it? Did your order get missed too?
No, my second one got taken in. Mine wasn't. Mine was in between.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had mine closer to that 127. And when I looked at the charts later on in the afternoon, I was like, man, I can't believe that missed. But hey, that's what happens. The way it's dancing around, who knows? It may retest it, but it would have been nice if it would have picked it up. But it's all good. So, yep, that's the cash switchy. That's the way the ball bounces sometimes. So we'll continue to watch and monitor that one to see if we can get it to that TP1, potentially TP2. That's that. Want to take a look at the CAD yen, right? Check the progress on that. We had 2 different scenarios, right? We had a smaller play on the 5-minute. I believe that missed, if I'm not mistaken. Did it? I think it did, right? I got some stuff disappearing. I think this was the original fib here. Right. So never got good confirmation. Yeah, because there's that original 382. Never got back, and it died. Pushed to the downside, right? So now on this 5-minute, we've got a new fib, and we've got another position here at the 80-20 zone. All right. But we were also talking yesterday on the 4-hour swing, right? Nice bearish candlestick that broke right in that 80-20 zone on the 4-hour. So while we didn't get the correction on the 5 on that short 5-minute play yesterday, right? It's because price just stayed impulsive to the downside and came in right at TP1 on that 4-hour swing. So depending on which one you were playing, depends on how it came out for you. But that was a nice move out of the 80-20, right? It's a beautiful trend line break, right? So after that bearish candlestick, right, that dropped, 80 plus pips to the TP on that one. So that total move out of that zone, right, if you limit in, was 162 pips back down to the 382, right? Stop at the 1.618D extension, right? Give yourself room, trade small, and that one came down to hit target, right? Ryan, did you play that one on this larger fib on the 4?
No, I didn't play the CAD yen.
Okay.
Nope, didn't take it. I had it posted, but I ended up missing my original entry, and on the lower time frames, I didn't take anything.
Yeah. It was an impulsive move down. That was if you were in it for a limit play, right? That paid off huge, but that was a crazy bearish candlestick that finally broke that trend line to the downside. So that's a hard one to catch if you're not already in it from the top. And then the fact that it didn't give us that correction on the 5, that just shows you like who was in control on that one. So gave a slight pull back and then it just kept on moving. So what was that say? You catch all those 80-20s. I hear you there. Right? They pay huge dividends. They do. You have to be patient with them. Right? That one did a lot of dancing and shifted around, but we didn't get that D extension hit and it came right back down. And we may get a further downside. But
and you got to trade small to be able to do it too.
You have to, because you have to be able to leave that trade alive, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Let those pips
accumulate. Say that again, Ryan. What did he say? I didn't hear him.
No, What'd you say? You got to trade small in order to catch all of them as well, right? So you're not over leveraging your account overall, right? So if you're trading larger, then you're picking your spots and only taking certain 80-20s as opposed. And if you want to try to catch all of them, you're decreasing that lot size so that you can have more positions in the market and still not have too much of your account exposed, right?
That's a great point. That's a great point. I know that's how I used to miss them because I was in too deep on one particular one and I missed the other 4.
Me too.
I missed the other 4, and the one that I picked was the wrong one. Even though we find these sweet spots, it's still a probability, right? We don't control the market, and yeah. Said you know it too well. Yep, we've all been there. I know I've been there, right? That's why I was like, man, this is a risk management game for sure. Blowing up some stuff back in the day. I tell you, that was me. So that is the CAD yen. Want to follow up and take a look at the Euro Aussie, right? Because that's been nice too. Yep, this Euro Aussie that we were looking at on the 15-minute. My charts have come alive, right? So we know, right? We know that oh, come on now. There we go. We know that overall, right? It's been bullish, right? Huge off that double bottom. Isn't that amazing? All right, look at that. And then it rains and then it broke out, right? But we know in our lower time frames, right, that it's not just going straight up and down, it's moving in waves. So on our daily, we've got a brand new AB boundary. We got a nice little bounce off the 236, right? Doesn't look like much there. But when you start to come down to the time frames and you find it like on this 15-minute, oh boy, right? Look at that swing. That's textbook. Right? This level is amazing, right? So all the bullish momentum, right? We exhausted, hit the extension. We got a new AB boundary. Look at that. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight candles. It hit that 118, 127 zone, and it just collapsed. Okay. It just collapsed. Now we're at the 61A trying to make a U-turn. Right? Trying to make a U-turn there for a low price. But that's out of that zone, right? Back down to that 382 in that area. So over 100 pips on a 15-minute chart.
And Benny, right, on the higher time frame, that those same candles that push up on the daily, that pushed you right into that 118 level on the daily.
Okay, let me
And it
hold on one
created
second.
a wick on the daily candle.
On the daily.
Yep, and on the 4-hour.
Okay. You see it right there?
Mine looks a
What do you
little
have?
different than that.
Yours is different?
Oh, what did I do with mine? I manually drew that one in. Let me see why.
Okay.
Yeah. We got an 8-6 retracement. So I manually drew it to the first swing high just past that 118 level. That's why mine looks a little bit different. Yep.
All right here.
Yep. So I manually drew it from the A to there.
Yeah. I get it.
Yep. So that wick pushed it right into the 118 level on mine.
So yours is more like this. Like this here. Here.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
And then on the 4, it also pushed it right into that 118 level. And that one is just the ones ran off the low.
You manually drew that one too?
Nope,
Oh, right here.
just like that. Yep.
Right here. Yep. So that rejection. Okay. So we may get that's gonna be. I mean, I'm good with the move to the sell side, right?
Mm-hmm.
With that evening start right there. So who knows with the way this market is moving, whether or not this is about to make this U-turn from that C to the D. That was hard to tell. I mean, the risk to reward is there, right? What would that be off the 60?
But I was just looking at right that those candles there, right, push it into key levels on all the time frames, to give it that confluence to give that retracement there on the 15.
That was clean too. That was a clean move.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Still amazes me, man. No matter what the pair, right? No matter what pair. So that is the Euro Aussie, right? So there's a beautiful swing to the downside. Be interested to see if it can make that U-turn and continue to climb. It might. That's one to keep an eye on there. Risk to reward is there. A lot of upside to gain on that. Right? Which is stop below the A. See if it'll continue to go. Right? It's reacting at that 4-hour support there. That's deep in the zone. So if you're looking for a continued bullish move on that Euro Aussie, right? That move to the upside. Might be a fair play. Yeah, buddy. All right. So any questions on the Euro CAD? I mean on the Euro Aussie.
I think it looks like it's gonna drop. My daily has a retracement to the 61.8. So
On your daily fib?
yeah, it's coming down from the top.
Oh, you're running that. Okay. I get what you're saying. I know what you're running. You're running it off this high?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got all types of confluence going on there, right? Oops. That's not right. could dig it. Right. I'm just so bullish on this euro right now, especially against this. So maybe a correction and then a continuation long.
That's my thought. Correction and continuation.
Yeah. Yeah. You see how it plays out. This is it's an interesting play. It's starting to break out a bit. I don't know. I'll make a decision on that when we log out. Let's see how that goes. Anyway, all right. Moving on. EuroCAD. EuroCAD. Let's take a look at that. Right. That's got me thinking that euro. I'm a fan of the euro right now. Here. So this was trying to make a U-turn too now. This was the setup, right? Came right down through TP1, right? Almost the TP2 is holding up at this daily support at 146.66, right? So that's a clean move to the downside there. Okay. So if you're making that B boundary play and you're trading small and you're leaving that stop wide like we covered, that's a winning position. Right? So you were able to take advantage of that move. Didn't quite make it to the 80-20 zone. But if you played the move off the B boundary, right, you collect a profit off that position. So this is breaking out of trend line. These it's tricky because they're sitting so. This is a support level though, and the stochastic is in the buy zone. These are getting a little tricky. I'll wait. See if they want to start making some higher highs and some higher lows, and maybe look to make a play on a lower time frame. But no move yet on that. But it is technically right when we look at that sequence, sitting at a pretty decent low price. So we'll see if it'll form a low and break out. If it right makes that move. Look to get long, but I'm gonna be patient with it. I won't drip a trade in right now. Ryan, what you think?
Yeah, these are so interesting, man. Like we talked about on the Euro Aussie, I'm on the Euros overall. I'm looking for potential retracements altogether and then continuations. So I think this one potentially could give us here on the 1 hour time frame a pullback and then maybe a continuation lower. I think that all depend on data and stuff like that. But my bias is leaning more towards bearish. But we'll see. I think those you got a 4 hour level 147.555. I think that'll be key because we're sitting high in the zone on multiple time frames on this one. So overall my bias is short, but I moved my stop loss on this one into profit, so now I'm just managing it. Yeah, because we do have that support level there, so we'll see how price responds in that zone there that it's in.
Yeah, because this is a clean break and a retest.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna see where we're sitting when that 4 hour stochastic gets back in that buy zone.
Yeah, the Euros are interesting, man. Because they do start to get mixed up because if you come off the monthly and the weekly, right? You're deep in the zone, right? 786, 86 levels on the sub fib. On the weekly, you got an 80-20. On the daily, you got an 80-20. On the 4-hour, you mixed, right? You already got your 50% retracement. And then on your one, fibs are coming to the downside, but not able to break out in either direction, right? So you start to get that range action as you move past that daily time frame. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Weaker demand for oil, though. Oil price tailed off a little bit. Oil is coming into some highs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Leave it on the radar. All right.
One last look on that one, Benny, on the 15. If you run the fib off the high, you do got an 80-20. It's trying to break trend line and push to the upside.
Yeah, that's holding, man.
It's holding. Yeah. But adds to the complexity, right? On which way to go. Yeah, don't know that cat news tomorrow could give us some insight. Potentially. Yeah.
It was the original move, right? So we threw 2 TP levels.
Yep.
And we got the correction. So that's one. I think we covered that one yesterday. That one was that's an 80-20, right? Same stuff over and over again. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Might
it's gonna be interesting to see.
Calculate. Like I said, I'm gonna wait for that. I'm gonna wait for that 4-hour stochastic to move into the buy zone. And if it's still sitting there hovering, it's making higher highs and higher lows, I'll play it. I'll look to play that. CAD news. Yep. There's CAD news tomorrow. Thanks for the reminder. Anybody else out there in the world? We got 18 people on here. What are we thinking?
Would it be already priced in since cash showing some weakness today?
What, the employment data?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Right? Yeah, know when those numbers come out. No. We'll see. AJ Long. I'm thinking that too, AJ. I'm just a Euro fan right now. I'm a fan of the Euro with everything that's going on. They got some good economic data and everything. So I don't know. We'll continue to watch it. Euro Aussie, Euro CAD. Right? But hey, put a 0.5% on it, manage the risk and see where you come out. I just think it's a lot of upside. Taking a shot on that. So all right, that's enough on that. Take a look at missing action, trying to get my trading legs together. I hear you. You will though. It's all good. Glad you're here. Let's take a look at the I'm gonna be getting my I'm out of here in a couple of weeks, Ryan. I'm gonna be getting my trading legs back on too, and we'll be in the same position. That's why I'm laughing. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna be missing in action too here pretty soon. Oh, but so let's look at this Euro JPY, right? It's rejecting right to the downside. Look at that. Okay. Stochastic in the sell zone. Oh, that yen strength, right? This was my original thought coming off that support. The stochastic's moving back into the buy zone. So we got a little mix here. And then we know right, look at that swing. So that play was correct. And then well, at least I had it. Now I don't. the 15-minute move that we posted, that we were talking about yesterday, that we put in the newsletter. So this is gonna be interesting too. This the guys that's in the sell zone. So this is a beautiful play for those who may have taken it, right? Either off that 15-minute buy to the upside, and then that short, that continuation short. We had a couple scenarios, right? Off of what we posted, but it's gonna be interesting. That yen showing strength. Ryan, thoughts?
Yeah, this is another one that I'm short on. I've taken partial profit on the move down, but it's coming in at TP1 right now, or just below that TP1, almost at TP2 on the 1 hour. So I'm going to continue to watch it to see how things continue to transpire, because it's caught in this range, right? So as it comes into, I'm looking at potentially getting down to 142, 138, around that zone.
Okay.
Potentially finding some support there, some previous resistance level as well. So a little bit deeper potentially, and then see what happens from there. But I have taken partial profit on that move to the downside out of the 80-20.
Yeah. I mean, it played out like how we drew it up. Coming out of the weekend, a 15-minute 80-20 on the buy side to give us the high price, and then the further continuation down. So that is doing exactly what it's doing. So we'll see if it's, like you said, it's going to continue down. If it takes out that 8, maybe we'll see. But it's moving to the downside. So that's been a really good play there. Been a really good play. I want to take a look at, and we'll look at this as a series. This Euro USD I've got it similar scenarios on the Euro dollar, pound dollar, and the NZD dollar that I'm paying real close attention to. So we know, right? We spotted Euro dollar, right? Bullish, okay? Bullish crown weekly. But when you come to the daily, pushing into a level, and we've got some correcting going on, stochastic in the sell zone. So what I'm keying on here, though, is I've got this trend line running. So what I'm watching on the Euro dollar, pound dollar, and the NZD dollar is what type of reaction we get when price gets back to this trend line, right? Okay. We saw the reaction last time. Okay. So I'm watching this one closely. So what I want to wait and see, once price gets to this trend line, if we hold, okay, get price to hold, do we form a low at that trend line, and then we continue long? Okay. So I'm being patient with that, because if you come here and you look at it on the 1, 80-20, everybody. Okay. It's real. Right. Look at that, a crazy explosive bullish candlestick that just stopped. Right. And it's coming right back down. So I'm interested in seeing if we hold and we get a bounce.
It's interesting, man. We talked about this one this morning, and talked about, I was looking at it from potential retest and continue long. And even with data coming out, right, it all plays into the sequence.
It does. It does. It's just how the market moves. And after these years, I just truly believe that, right? And every other technique, strategy, right? This is the foundational framework. I believe. It seems like every time you look at a strategy, look at something somebody's doing, it all roads leads right back to, right, those ABCD waves. All right. So, all right. So there we are, right? We're hanging above that trend line. I'm interested to see what happens once price gets there. So if we go and we take a look at the pound dollar, right? You can see here that it's a similar scenario. Right? What's going to happen? Price makes it back to that trend line. Okay. We get back to that trend line. That's what I'm waiting for on this one. Okay. Do we get price to move down, hold, and bounce? Continue long. Kim, because most people don't know, right? This is something that we formulated as a group, and we're a pretty small group, you know. So most people don't. A lot of times, people, more and more people are starting to know now. If you follow, you know, up and coming traders on YouTube or whatnot, right? It seems like all the time that the evolution is they start on lower time frames, they're scalping, they're using 50 million different strategies, right? It seems to change on a regular basis. Maybe it's moving averages, maybe it's a 20 and a 50. And then because they want to get a tighter and tighter entry, it becomes like a 5 and a 9, right? So it's like but it's just that evolution playing out as a trader. And then they find out about the Fibonacci sequence and then the retracement levels. Then they eventually learn that there's a correlation between retracement levels and extension levels. And then they start to piece it all together. You know, whereas we were blessed enough to, you know, from our mentors to really learn the whole structural framework from the beginning, you know, so it kind of stuck to that. That's why we don't really vary. We really don't vary at all, right? So it's even when I was with, you know, with IM and trading and the software, using the software, still stuck to the same principles. Still the same principles, even with a scanner, harmonic scanner, things like that. We never move away from those foundational principles, right? Because it applies across the board with all assets. So it's just a lot of times, a lot of people just don't know. When you first come into trading, you hear, you know, the rhetoric only trade with the trend. But the fact of the matter is, like, trend trading doesn't have a high strike rate. Not that necessarily matters, right? I know successful traders, you know, that's 30% traders, 35% traders, right? So, but a lot of times people say trade with the trend because they think that leads to a higher strike rate. It doesn't. It doesn't. You know, a lot of times you trade with the trend, you're below, you know, 50% on your strike rate, and that's fine because you can still make profit, right? So it's just a lot. It just depends on what circle you start in and what you hear. So that's a great question, though. That's a great question. So we've just back tested for forever, you know, that sweet spot, right? That was taught to us by our mentors, and we kind of just homed in on that zone, you know. So, yep. Yeah, oh yeah, they all say that. But when you look at some of the Paul Tudor Jones, you can look at, like, I tend to follow like major traders, like major success, like, you know, those top traders, Paul Tudor Joneses and things like that. Some of your most successful traders in the world, like your multimillionaires, are kind of trend traders. Right? Think about that. You know, so yeah, that's a fact, right? That's a fact. Right? Because what we're doing is we're looking to trade exhaustion and reversals, right? So, you know, we could talk about that for hours, right? And different approaches to the market. So that's the pound dollar. You can see here where, right? Right. And a lot of people don't understand the Fibonacci frames. Like, they don't understand the Fibonacci sequence framework, right? So, for example, right, and I get why people would say that, right? Because they just don't know, right? So some people say, what? Here, we're showing you how to take advantage of these waves and really understand how to trade waves. Most people are going to tell you with a fib, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. Take that fib and pull it from the low to the high. And then when it doesn't work, they'll tell you that fibs don't work. Right? Let's say the fibs don't work. Right? What this represents is a larger wave on a 4-hour or a daily fib. You know how sometimes we'll copy over a fib and bring it down, right? Because we say higher time frames control the lower time frames. And if you have a major, right? If it's a great question you ask. If this is my daily fib, I mean, ABCD sequence, that means that, okay, that means that on my 1 hour, right? So if we have a fib running like this, okay, right? That means that if this is my C to D push on a daily, that means on my 1 hour chart, this C to D push here, that's a larger wave on my 1 hour chart is going like this.
That's the other thing too, Benny. A lot of times in a lot of the education that you'll see, the wave sequence isn't actually broken down and taught either, right? As far as the fractals and as
Right.
you explain it, being a twig on a tree, right? Most people aren't, that's not broken down to people. So this example that you're given, they miss all of that.
Correct. You're 100% correct. Right? That's why I truly believe like I had the greatest mentor on the planet, because it continues to play out over and over again, regardless of the economic conditions. This is how the market is moving. Right? This is how the market is moving, right? So if this is my larger wave and we got smaller wave, this is exactly what you're looking at here. Right? But look, those are smaller waves playing out. So when price reverses and starts to move in a different direction, how do I take advantage? I'm missing this. This is hindsight. This has already happened. Everybody follow me on that, drop me a 1 in the chat. It's already happened. By the time you get on the chart, it's already happened. So then what happens? If price moves higher, right, you'll find people, what they'll do is, for one, right, and it's just a knowledge thing, right? It's just a knowledge thing. You don't know what you don't know. And then you know what you don't know. And then you know what you know, right? The 5 levels of learning, right? So once you so what'll happen is if you run your fibs like this, what are you gonna do? You're gonna keep expanding your fib if price continues to move higher? And then a lot of times people don't understand, right, the significance of swing lows and swing highs in that 5 candle combination. So they may say, well, this looks like a high. Something looks like a high. Well, what defines a high? If I've just dropped my fib and then it moves higher, I'm just gonna keep expanding my fib and repainting my fib all over the chart. And you're like, I don't understand fibs. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't work. That's why the training is important. Like, and it's just, I don't know if some people that have been with us in the past, maybe I think maybe they think that what we do is like common knowledge. It's not. It's really not. It's really not. Right. So that's why we teach the sequence. Like a lot of times, 6, 7 years ago, teaching, people would be like, oh, that's advanced. It's too advanced. It's not advanced. It's because it's the foundation of the market. It's how the market moves. The market moves in ABCD ways. I think it's better for people to understand that in the beginning before they get blown up and then go all around the world 6 times and then come back to this. And you don't have to go far to see that it plays out. Here's the last fib. ABCD. Here was the fib before it. ABCD. ABCD. Right? You ride it until it gets taken out. ABCD waves. These are all shallows, but it's making corrections nonetheless. Right? Here's the smaller fib. We didn't get a 382. Barely missed it. What did it do? It shot straight up and came right back down. The market moves in waves. When you drop a smart fib on the chart, it becomes undeniable. Now, how you formulate your strategy around that, right, may vary. But if you use proper risk management, you determine a directional bias from the top down, right, and understand how to do that, right? Develop a little bit of spatial intelligence, right? Even if you want to trade with that trend, it's putting you right in the position to do it. But you can't deny the fact that you can kind of trend trade and make money, because price likes to find a C. Price likes to correct. Fibs help you, right? When you're using them like this, right? And I'm not gonna say properly, because you have people, it's a lot of egos in trading. It gets ridiculous. So I'm not gonna say if you use them right way or properly, because people are like, oh, that's subjective, whatever. If, right, you say you want to buy low and sell high, you're buying low and you're selling high. Right. So if you want to bypass this B2C move, that's cool, right? Then you look for a low price and you get long. Be addicted to the process, not the results. Be obsessed with the process, not the results. Right? Consistently catch the pips, the money will come. So just something to think about. So that's the key to trading is patience, time, patience. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. So that's where we are. So you play it, right? And you're either gonna stop, you're either gonna put your stop when you get that low price. If you like tight stops, you're gonna put it below that C in your zone, or you're gonna put it below your A. Give it some room, trade smaller to see if it wants to make that U-turn. The rest we don't control. It's probability. So here is the NZD USD. Okay. Right. And we know, right? Look at that. That's a beautiful, beautiful, right? Just move my stuff right there, right? See how it's respecting, right? That's 60, 80, 85 of that support level, weekly support level. See how we get that beautiful V-shaped U-turn? That's a swing low, right? So that's acting as support again, right? You see that pattern, okay? So we're making a U-turn right now. We know we've got a right tip of the crown on a bearish crown on the dollar. So we come into the same scenario where, okay, we've been moving to the upside. Right? It's ABCD wave, right? We're moving along. So if, right, it becomes very easy to follow at that point, right? If we want to get long and find a low price, and for that trend to continue, we're going to look forward to do the same thing. And the trend is either going to continue, right? Or it's going to run out of gas to the upside, and it's going to be finally time for it to correct, for it to make a deeper correction to the downside. But that's the NZD USD, right? It's not going to go up forever. Not going to go up forever, right? So we have to, if you trade with the trend, which is fine, right? We do both. You have to define what your ideal low price is going to be, right? In a particular zone, right? Do I like trading 61/8 or lower, deep in the zone, deep discounts, and then look for the U-turn? Right? That all comes down to your trade plan. That all comes down to your trade. Right? But we always tell people like, man, there's really no, just look left at the last Fed. What did it do? It moved in the ABCD way. Right. So, but it's totally up to you whether or not you want to trade that, right? That counter trend move, or you want to wait for your low things. We show you effectively how to do both effectively in a sense. So that's the NVD USD. We got a couple minutes left. I want to cover. Is this helping anybody? Yes, no, maybe. Probably provide some clarity
Yes.
on our. Yes. Okay. Awesome. This is our philosophy, right? This is the foundation for us. This is what we do. Okay. Cool. So, Ryan, you were talking about the GJ earlier, right? It's looking kind,
yes, sir.
It's looking kind of bearish to me, man.
Yeah. You look at that off the daily time frame.
Yeah, I picked up that what you were talking about here too on the 4, that evening star candlestick formation right there. That's just blatant, right? Candlesticks, the sign language of the market. That just told us.
Yep.
All right. Like, so I remember you talking about that this morning, and then just from that daily, that's hard to not say. I think that's gonna move, maybe moving short. If I'm wrong, that's worth being wrong, right? That's deep in the zone.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't close above 165.95, and now it's back below 164.23, that daily level. And it's stochastic in the sell zone. We know this could be tricky period, but I mean, private sector jobs numbers, job openings report, the way it came out, that was that the ISM report that came out. The market continues to sour, right? Risk off. Pound usually does well when the market, oftentimes when the stock market and everything is rallying, you can see the pound rally. It's topsy-turvy. Market starts to decline. I can see that continuing to the downside. Flight to safe haven, right? I know the bond yield is down, right? Bond yields are down, so that might be. We just came on a 1 off this leg that I was tracking. We came into a de-extension with no correction at all. So maybe we're setting up for a new fib and a high price. But I'm thinking, hey, there's 164.23, maybe a retest and a continuation down.
That's what I'm looking for. On this one, I was short earlier, so I took partial profit, and I'm waiting on a high price to add back to it for a continuation lower.
Got it. So new fibs would technically be like that, right? Something like that. So thinking bearish on that. I will wait for a high price, like you said. The other one that I wanted to take a look at before we log off, I know we're at the 10 o'clock hour, everybody, is this UCAD. Right, so this one, hey, right? We're starting to get some price action off that 127. This is a 4-hour move. We saw when we started out, we looked at the DXY, and we saw on the 15-minute chart that the dollar was starting to pump a little bit during this Asian session. And you can see it reacting to the upside here. So we continue to watch that one, right? Off that 127 back to that 382, right? That's 200 pips to the upside. So, hey, tomorrow, right? We got reminded. Who reminded it? Was that the net? It told us. Hey, we got Canadian employment numbers tomorrow, right? So that's going to be key. We got Friday, we've got non-farm payroll for the US. So this is going to be interesting tomorrow, being that this is sitting where it's at right now. Okay. So if you're in that trade, right, continue to manage it. But that's starting to make a move. Right. That's starting to make a move. Here's the 1 hour, right? Swinging off that B boundary to smaller wave. Right. So off that B boundary, what is that? That's already up over 40 pips. Okay.
It's a big part of it is kind of trusting that the period will go there. But even though it does, like when you look from the higher time frame, like for me, I kind of second guess myself because you know that on a daily, it's gonna take a while to get a month or so to get to, you know, your level, and then you're playing these small moves.
That's what takes time, right? And that's why I always tell people that I just seen a Facebook ad, and the guy was like, "Become consistently profitable." I want to say it was like 15 days or something. It was something crazy. It was something wild. And it's just like, and
Wow.
just you know what I mean? So he may have a rock solid strategy that people can learn real easy in 15 days, but people always leave out the psychological side to it, which is the most important part, right? And that's what you're alluding to, right? Where it's like you have to learn to trust it, right? That's the mental game, the mental side of trading. So it's like I get marketing is marketing, whatever. But it's like even once you get a strategy down, you can get a strategy down in 15 days, like you still have to trust it and figure out what the strike rate is and the success rate and how your risk management should be formulated around the success rate of the strategy. All types of crazy stuff. But you know, so I totally understand. And the only thing that gets you to trust the position and trust your trading is time. It's time. That's why Ryan always says, give yourself some grace. Your journey is your journey. Right. So that's moving up. Risk management really helped me a lot. Right. Because once I figured that out, hey man, you win the war before it starts. By figuring out you always start with how much you can afford to lose, not what you can gain. And people most of the times when they come into this, that's all they think about is what they can gain. But you are a manager of money. Your job is to manage risk at all costs. So that's the UCAT. So just want everybody to take a look at that, right? And it may reach that high price and then continue down, but price likes to correct, right? So if you're trading with the trend, then your job is to sit on your hands until it gets in your zone. And then if your bias is short with the trend, then you get short, right? And you live with those results, okay? So you pass on that, whether it's 200 pips, 300 pips, you pass on that and you wait for your high price to get short. That's the game. Moves up, down, and sideways. The market is very primitive. Our brains are complicated. Right? So last one, right? Then we'll wrap it up. I want to make sure we got through these. It's just that UJ, right? We've been following that. And we know that it has that crown type of pattern, just like the DXY. Go figure, right? And it's moving bearish. And we came into this 4-hour chart. We said, not only do we have an ABCD wave, we failed to break out. So we reached the 50% level, signal, right? Message. And we failed to break out to the D extension. We went higher, right? So you've got that battle between the bulls and the bears within the AB boundary. And you can see how once it reached that high price, it turned over, broke trend line, right? So now, if you're not involved in this, the question becomes, can I get a high price? And then look for a continuation, right? So of course, even on this subfit, we don't have a 382 yet. If price pushes down to the 127 and you're a counter trend trader and you like those setups, then you have the option to say, hey, maybe I look to take this position back to the 382. It's the same stuff over and over again, or higher. Okay, like that. And then you get the continuation potential. Okay. Any questions? Great session. Lots of good questions tonight, everybody. Appreciate it. Any other questions before we close out tonight's session? It's been a fun.
Just a comment, even if they said, learn to trade in 3 years to be profitable, nobody would jump for that ad.
Absolutely not. That's what I said. You are spot on. Like what? 3 years? 3 years? Are you kidding me? Right? Nobody would, right? And that's why marketing is marketing. That's what I said. Hey, it is what it it is what it is. Right? We have to use our brains to make sense of it all. And yeah, you are spot on with that. Nobody would. Nobody would, right? So it's like, man, they got me with that 6-minute abs video. But they got me. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Go to bed instead of watching late night infomercials. Tell you. But Kim, great. Appreciate the feedback, Kim. You're welcome. Ryan, anything to add before we before we close out?
No, man. Hey, great session. Great session. Now for those that as Kim mentioned, right, going back through the training and reviewing, might be who of you to do that, right? I still do it periodically. Go back and just review. Be able to continue to pick up those little nuggets that you can continue to add in and evolve yourself as a trader, right? So pop back into that course and start going through them one by one with a different perspective than you did maybe the first 1, 2, or 3 times. Great session, bro.
Appreciate it. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. with my awesome partner, Ryan Carthage, for the pre-New York prep session. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You're welcome.
Good night.